What's up, everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl Straight Skates. I'm Rebel. This is
Bowie.
And
Bowie's mom.
whose name is
Rebel.
no, his other mom.
I'm Shove.
And we're gonna talk to you today about how to get out of a skate rut.
And we're sorry that Bowie's gonna be panting the whole time.
It's so hot here.
It's hot and he's a little Frenchie. He doesn't know how to do it.
Frenchies don't know how to do heat, so.
Life is hard, neither do I.
So, let's talk about how to get out of skate rut.
What's a skate rut?
What's a skate rut? Yes.
I don't know what a skate rut is. I'm asking you.
Okay. A skate rut is when you are in your skating process and you feel like you're stuck. And so you can't get past a certain move, or you can't like progress any further, or even I feel like a skate rut is when you are like not enjoying skating anymore. I also feel like that counts as a skate rut.
That feels like skate burnout to me. If it gets that far where you don't even want to skate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been in a rut or two.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 5.
I've been in
or
many
20.
many skate ruts. And it's crazy, like not a lot of people talk about how they get in skate ruts. And so we're here to talk about it because it's a very real thing that happens to, I think, every skater ever.
It's a real thing that's going to happen to literally every skater when they come out of quarantine fully and go to the skate park and realize that they can't do nearly anything that they could do before.
Yeah, or even if you can do what you could do before, sometimes it's just like, it doesn't feel right. Like, even if you're able to actually do it, sometimes it doesn't feel as comfortable, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I can do the things and I can do it over and over and over again. And then I go and I can't do it. And then I try again and I can't do it again. And I'm like, what the heck happened?
For real, like, I feel like sometimes you unlock a trick and then you go to try and do the trick again and then you can't do it. And you're like, wow, okay, I thought I had this trick, but that's not always the case. Like, once you unlock a trick, it doesn't just stay all the time.
I'm definitely like, I can't get myself to drop in again. Even on the babiest
Of the transitions.
Of all little copians. So that's my personal rut right now. And I think the way I get over it is I look for something else that I can do to challenge myself. There's only so many times you can try to convince yourself to do something and then fail at it, and then just sometimes it's just not your time. Like, you just like, today's not the day, let's do that again, but let's try something else to distract yourself, as well as like feel like you've accomplished something, so you don't feel as bad that you couldn't do the original thing you set out to do.
Yeah. What's another way you can get out of a skate rut? The way that I get out of my skate ruts usually is by taking a break from whatever it is that I'm doing, which is exactly what Shove said, except a little bit different. I tend to like stop skating for a second. And I know it sounds like, oh, that feels like it defeats the purpose, but sometimes you just need to like do something else for an hour or even a day and just go back with a fresh perspective and a fresh feeling in your body.
Yeah, I know that since we got a ramp, usually the first skate, I suck at everything. And then I'll go do some work for like a few hours. And then I'll try to skate again at like sunset. And I'm just like, whoa, what happened? Like, I'm great. Like, I'm amazing. And it's just, I don't know, whether it's your body warming up or you have mental blocks, like something's just holding you up. And it's okay to be in a rut. It's not to think like I've reached my peak in my skating career, like I won't be able to do anything else. It just means that you're not there yet. Like, it could be something mental, it could be that you don't have the muscle for it yet, or you're just not sure how to execute the trick yet. It could be multiple things. There's nothing wrong with you. You could just have an off day, or maybe your body's just not ready to do it yet.
Yeah, I definitely think that listening to your body is a really important part, because sometimes our brains will tell us that we should have already nailed a trick, or we should already be at a certain point in our skate careers. And if we're not there yet, then our minds will start to say, well, then you're not good enough. And your mind has such power over your body that when your mind is convinced that you're not good enough, you're gonna start being unable to do things that you were already able to do, which can deepen the rut that you're in. So it's really important to acknowledge, like, what is making me get in this skate rut? Is it comparing myself to other people? Is it that I'm working on something really challenging and it's gonna take a while for me to establish this? Is it I feel like I should be farther along in my progression as a skater? Like, identifying what is the thought that's putting you in your rut is really important, because then you can identify that specific issue. I don't know that there's like one way to get out of a rut for everyone. I think everyone is definitely different. Like, I know my way of getting out of ruts is not the same way as Shev's way of getting out of ruts.
No, when I realize I'm in a rut, it comes out in anger, and then I get really mad at myself, and then I'm just like, why can't you just do it? And I try to, like, I don't know, I just have to, like, convince myself that, like, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Just walk/skate away before you really, like, just put yourself down. I get myself out with music a lot of the time, so if it's like I refuse to leave, it's all about finding that right song that, like, pumps you up. Like, you have that, like, song that gasses you up and makes you feel invincible.
Yeah.
And sometimes putting that on, kind of, like, all of a sudden, like, I'll land it, or, like, I just pretend like I'm going with the beat, and it just kind of, like, gives me a whole new energy to it. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like with you, it's more like you want to be by yourself to get out of the rut.
Yeah. So much pressure when there's other people around, because a lot of times I can't do something because there's the pressure of everyone watching. So, like, when she leaves, I'm like, thank God. Because and then it's like worse because she's, like, better at me, like, she's more advanced. So it's like that's added pressure on things I want to do, because it's like I don't want to watch you do the thing I'm trying to do, because it just makes me feel even more like I can't do it. So once you're alone, there's no one to judge you. There's definitely no one to compare yourself to. There's definitely not anyone around for you to compare yourself to, and you can just, like, put your headphones in and just do it, and, like, throw yourself around, and, like, it feels, I don't know, it's easier for me when I'm alone than, like, with people, even if they are encouraging me. Like, a bunch of people standing there cheering you on, if you're like me, it's just gonna be just as aggravating as, like, if they were booing you.
Whereas for me, I feel like I need people around, because if I'm by myself and I'm in a rut, I'm just gonna quit. Like, I feel like I have to have, and it's not necessarily any person. Like, there are a few people that I know can talk me out of ruts because they give me a different perspective of what I'm experiencing. So for me, it's that I need to understand that there are different ways to approach what I'm doing, and I have to stop just practicing and trying to get the result the same way. I have to try it from different, I don't know, like, take different steps to get into the trick, or think about it differently, and that's how I kind of get out of ruts. One very, very important thing that you can do is acknowledge how much you are comparing yourself to other skaters. So I always tend to get into a rut when I spend too much time on social media and not enough time skating. So if I can see that, like, I'm on social media more than I'm actually skating, I oftentimes will end up in a rut because of that, because I'm spending more time comparing myself to other people or watching other people's progress instead of working on my own progress. And even if they're at the same level as you, or slightly more advanced, or even if they're not as good as you, it's still not going to make you feel the best, because you're watching other people skate and you're like, oh, well, they can do it, and shouldn't I be able to do that right now? Or they started way after me and they're already way better than me. It's like, comparison is your worst nightmare. Like, comparison is the thing that will bring you down and make skating not fun. And so if you find yourself in a skate rut, I would definitely take some time to, like, see how much social media you're consuming and how much you're comparing yourself to other people. And I know it sounds ridiculous for me, a YouTuber, to say like spend less time on social media, but I really do think that the glory of this community is that we skate and we love skating, and so you should be skating. Yeah.
Something that goes with that would be to record yourself. So maybe if you're on your own Instagram or like your own little gallery on your phone, because if you see how far you've come, that can also help you. Like that, because you can be like, okay, I might suck today, but there's days I've done so well, like, so that's gonna give me hope, you know? Or knowing, just like making runs for yourself if you're at the park or whatever kind of skating you're doing, so that way it's still fun and different. Because I think another way to put yourself in the rut is if you're not challenging yourself or switching it up. So like you get stuck, like, what are you working on right now?
Right now I'm working on half cabs.
So all she does is like half cab, half cab, half cab, and then she gets angry and she's like, I'm never gonna do it, I've been working on this forever. And it's like, but you're forgetting to work on all the other things. Like you're throwing it in here and there, but like, or try something else new too, because like you're gonna get tired of that trick, you're gonna feel defeated, and you're gonna feel like you're in a rut. Versus like remembering all the things that make you feel strong and powerful and like you're good at and you know you can land, or trying something else. You can't just focus on one thing because you're gonna get so annoyed at yourself. Like you gotta switch it up, and try to just do it. Remember to make it fun. Like no one says you have to be the best at one trick or anything, you know.
That's such good advice.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're really good at giving advice. Yeah, I think for me, sometimes I also get in a rut when I am trying to do too many things. So I think
Isn't that your MO?
That is my MO. It is. But maybe there's someone out there who that's also their MO. But like for me, sometimes I do the opposite of what Shub just said, which is that I only try something like once and then I move on to the next thing, and then I just end up being mediocre at everything and I don't really dig in and really practice specific things. And for me, that makes me feel like in a rut, because then I feel like, oh, I've been skating for so long and I'm not good at anything. Like I'm just like mediocre at a million things.
Story of my life.
And so I think it's important to recognize too, if that's happening to you or if that's your tendency, to say, oh, maybe I'm gonna spend, you know, maybe you decide like, oh, on Tuesdays I'm gonna practice dance skating, or on this week I'm just gonna work on skate parks, and then next week I'll work on something else. Or dedicate whatever amount of time will give you some sort of validation for yourself, because really you're the one that is going to validate yourself. Other people will not validate you, and if they do validate you, sometimes you just get used to it. Like
people validate me all the time.
Yeah. But like after a certain point, it's like if you're not happy with yourself,
no, yeah, I know what you're saying.
a million people telling you how wonderful you are isn't gonna feel good. Like it's just gonna be like, whatever. And we get desensitized to compliments, which is so crazy, but it's a thing. It happens. So find ways to be proud of yourself. That's what I'm saying. Are you in a skate rut right now?
No. Are you in a skate rut?
I think I'm pulling myself out of a skate rut. I think I was in a skate rut pretty recently. Not like a super deep one, but I definitely felt like we had gotten the ramp, and then it's hard because it's like, yeah, you have a ramp, but then you're not really getting together with any of your friends because of COVID. And so for me, I do my best progress when I'm with my friends at the skate park. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, I was struggling because I would go out there and I would skate for like 5 minutes, and then I'd be like, I didn't learn anything. And then I just come inside. And I know that sounds like so crazy, but I don't know, I think also when it's hot, it's hard too.
I'm not in a skate rut because I feel like I've learned, my first step was just learning the tricks I wanted to learn. And now it's about doing it like higher on the transition and not being afraid of like the fear going backwards. So I think since I have like small goals which I think that's important too, setting small goals and things you want to learn. It's still fun for me, and I'm still like, I can go on the ramp and literally just pump back and forth, and I'm like happy. So right now, amazingly, I am not in a skate rut.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I think that the way I've so far been pulling myself out of my like little baby skate rut that I've been in is I have been finding people online that are skating at a similar like level as me, and I've been seeing what tricks they're working on and then trying to take those tricks and incorporate them into what I'm doing, so that way even in the process of me learning something super difficult, which is half cabs, I'm able to make little victories along the way. So like I learned how to do this like crossover turnaround thing, and that made me feel like, oh, okay, you're not a failure at skating. Not that I think I'm a failure at skating, but we all
Have that voice in our head.
have negative voices in our heads that say things that are not true. You're wonderful at skating, and you're trying your hardest.
Another way to get out of a skate rut is, this might sound shady at first, but skate with someone that isn't as talented as where you are right now. And I know that sounds bad, like, oh, just find someone that's worse than you, but it's not, trust me. It's because you'll have someone that doesn't know what you can do yet, and by them being there, you're teaching them. And something about like teaching someone that's a little newer or not as advanced at you kind of reignites that like love for skate and like how fun it is to remember those like first steps. So like when I skate with Rebel, I'll do like bare minimum. Sometimes I'll push myself, but I notice when I skate with like my derby wives that like haven't really park skated or ramp skated, that I feel like I advance better, because like, I don't know, I'm like feeding off of their energy from being like new, and then as well as like I'm getting more technical and like teaching them how to do things, and it kind of reminds me of like why I like skating, that like sense of community, but also like you're mentally breaking down verbally and showing the steps, which somehow makes you better because you're like really getting technical, and then you're like, oh wait, now I'm realizing how I can fix it myself and make it even better. So I notice that I tend to like advance whenever I do skate with people that aren't on the same level as me.
You just broke down one of the number one like positive, effective education methods. Is you learn and then you teach someone else, and when you're teaching someone else, you're learning too. No, but I agree with that, because I think that every time I teach a new skater how to skate, or a skater who's already been skating who starts at the skate park, every time I help someone out at the skate park, I feel like I remember like I love roller skating so much. Like I almost have more fun teaching people at the skate park and watching them succeed than like mastering a new trick at the skate park.
True.
Yeah. And I do think that there's like that magic and like getting addicted to the skate park for the first time, or like learning how to do certain dance skate moves, and yeah. Thanks for watching this episode of Queer Girl Straight Skates. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find Shove on Instagram at FatGirlHasMoxie. You can support Shove by going to @FatFemFatale and buying her artwork on Etsy. You can also
buy me a cup of coffee on Ko-fi, Fat Girl Has Moxie,
for dropping the knowledge always. And if you want to support me, I have a Patreon. You can go to the link below, and I make all sorts of fun exclusive goodies and videos and personal chats on there. Anything else I need to tell them?
Nope. And as always,
cheers to the queers! Oh no! I took off
why
my...
do you have a hairnet?
Because I was...
expecting that.
Because I dressed up as your femme earlier.
You're in drag at all times.
I was in drag.
You have all this pink fur stuck to the glue.
Oh no, that's gross. Yeah, no, I was dressed up as Shove's femme earlier, and then she was like, let's record, and I was like, okay. So I just threw on a hat over my wig head.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so this is how I look. I look like Pidgeotto. I'm gonna go dye my hair now. Okay, bye everybody.
Here comes Mr. Still Your Girl.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
AKA Mr. Thick Neck. AKA Pant.
Bo Dizzle.
Bo Dizzle. My
Rainbowy.
Dizzle. Sometimes. He's a rainbowy.
Hard breather. Number 1.
Just sitting there judging us. You can't see him, but he's sitting there judging us.
Yeah.
You can't see him, but I'm sure you can hear him.